Before we talk about the Constitution, let's remember what it wasn't: calm, pure, or unanimous. It was forged in debt, rebellion, and fear of collapse. The story we inherited is tidy. The one they lived was not. That's where we'll begin. Hello, I'm Douglas Gosselin, author of Secrets of the Republic series. My aim is simple: tell the Constitution's making as it happened and supply the context a widely shared video removed. I'm not naming the creator or the channel. There's no need to drive more traffic to an account that already has plenty. This isn't about a person. It's about accuracy. If I receive an abundance of requests to provide the site, I'll provide the link in a comment. Here is the problem in plain terms. The video isn't neutral civics. It is built to recruit you to a present-day argument against a sitting president, without the nuisance of facts that complicate that case. It offers a frictionless founding and then uses that polished surface as a mirror to make today's executive look uniquely illegitimate. That is persuasion by omission. The shift from the Articles of Confederation to the Constitution didn't happen in the abstract. States were taxing one another. The Treasury was strained. In Massachusetts, farmers and Revolutionary War veterans, many still unpaid, rose under debt, taxes, and foreclosures. Under the Articles, the center had little capacity to respond. Remove those pressures, and you turn a rescue into a refinement. Why carve that away? Because a clean arc from weak past to perfect frame makes any modern executive action look like a break with sacred design. No context required. Balance wasn't conjured, it was purchased. The Great Compromise, people in the House, states in the Senate, the 3/5 formula amplifying slaveholding power, a 20-year protection for the transatlantic slave trade, a fugitive slave provision making capture a federal concern. Leaving this out doesn't protect students, it protects a narrative. It lets the speaker present checks and balances as moral purity so that any strong presidency can be cast as moral trespass. No mention of the original bargains or their consequences. The people in 1787 were not everyone. In most jurisdictions, the electorate was narrow, largely property-holding white men. Women did not vote. Most free black Americans lacked recognized political rights. Enslaved people were property in law. Native nations were treated as external polities. Stating this is context, not condemnation. Erasing it lets a modern argument claim timeless universal consent as the baseline, and then accuse today's executive of betraying a consensus that never actually existed. Civics gloss isn't enough. The mechanics matter. Revenue bills originate in the House. Senators were chosen by state legislatures until the 17th Amendment. Treaties require 2/3 of senators present. When the House impeaches a president, the Chief Justice presides in the Senate. Skip these levers and design becomes slogan. Useful if your goal is to wave the founders like a badge while avoiding how the system actually distributes and checks executive power. The judiciary needed teeth. The Constitution framed a court system. The Judiciary Act of 1789 built it. In 1803, judicial review was articulated, making the Constitution enforceable against ordinary statutes. Leave out the build-out and you imply the text alone polices presidents in real time. Convenient if you're arguing that today's executive is lawless and that the cure is simply to return to an imagined original equilibrium. Franklin's near-to-perfection line is treated as benediction. In time, he accepted a flawed bargain to avoid disunion and possibly interstate war. That is triage, not sainthood. Stripping the context turns his sentence into a sermon that can be pointed at a contemporary president. See? We had perfection. This person ruined it. Ratification wasn't a nod from legislatures. It was a fight in state conventions. Federalists and Anti-Federalists argued it in full view. The Bill of Rights in 1791 was part of the price of consent. Omit that and you can pretend the nation began in harmony, and declare any modern conflict the fault of one occupant of the executive, rather than a normal feature of Republican life. Why this pattern and why now? Because a smooth founding story is a powerful political tool. It converts procedure into virtue and recasts disagreement as deviance. It travels well on platforms that reward certainty over context. It spares an audience the work of reading clauses and cases, and it positions the speaker as guardian of the true Constitution while turning a sitting president into the foil. I'm not here to blame anyone, then or now. I'm here to insist on the record. Teach the period on its own terms, with its documents, debates, and definitions of citizenship. Then trace how the circle widened by statute, amendment, war, and movement. That is sobriety, not scolding. And it is the only honest ground from which to judge any modern administration, support, or oppose without propaganda. Here is the standard that serves students and the country. Show the before and after, teach architecture and bargain, name who counted then and how that changed. Open the clauses that do the work. Revenue origination, advice and consent, treaty thresholds, veto and override, impeachment roles, judicial review, and treat ratification and the Bill of Rights as part of formation, not an epilogue. Do that, and you keep admiration and evidence in the same room. If your case against a president is strong, you can make it with the full record. When you trim the record to fit the case, you've told us which is stronger, the argument or the evidence. A republic doesn't need myths, it needs adults. If you want reverence, tell a myth. If you want citizens, tell the whole. Thank you, and God bless you all and the United States of America.